Well, hello everybody, and welcome to this week's edition of Metaworld News. This is a program where we bring you news highlights from social virtual worlds, and also a bit about virtual reality, where it's human-computer interfacing, stuff like that. My name is Mal Burns, and I'm joined here, multitasking on all our cameras and stuff, by James Atloud. So, hello, James.
Oh, hello, Mal. And I think maybe you need to trigger your voice in the viewer.
Oh, right. One, two, one, two. Huh. One, two, one,
Oh,
two. Is that any better?
no, I guess our voice didn't come back.
Oh,
It
golly,
may
golly.
eventually.
Chickadee, what's it, blib? Oh, no, I'm showing myself. I've got my radio waves showing.
Oh, okay.
That's very odd. That's very odd. I should explain, folks, that that any of you actually watching live, very few of you do, but I gather there's at least somebody called Wildheart. Hello, Wildheart. Good to see you. I was watching earlier. We totally crashed. Our internet connection went down, which just does not happen, but until 2 weeks in a row it has. Anyway, this is the kind of restart sort of thing, and it may be that our in-world voice is as opposed to a broadcast voice, which is a different channel. You should see my lips flapping, my avatar's lips flapping. If they are not, well, tough. Something's wrong. It may have something to do with the log out and log in because my screen didn't actually disappear.
Yeah.
It sort of anyway. Let's just get on with the show, so to speak. As I said, these are the headlines, and it is headlines for the 3rd of March of the year 2019. At least we get something right on the rerun. Okay. um, so let's see. I'm going to open. Oh, yes, I forgot to say you can follow me on Twitter, twitter.com/malbones, MALBONS, all one word, and also twitter.com/metaworldnews. The latter is largely to do with social virtual worlds. The former is my main computer interfacing sort of blog. And if any of you are still in the old Second Life world, I have one for Second Life too, which is twitter.com/malburns_writer. So there are actually 3 to choose from. They're only the other 2 are the ones we focus on here. I'm actually going to be opening my browser in front of you, sort of unzipping for all of you to see, so to speak, what I'm doing. And you can see my tracking of the posts here, as it were. I'm starting off with one which was about February 25th. That was about this time last week. Talking about retina resolution in VR headsets, which promise users to reality and virtuality. As we discussed slightly in the near miss show a minute ago, retina resolution here has nothing to do with Apple. It seems to be just a trick from VR Times. So virtualitytimes.com is where we are, by the way. Um, I'm getting totally confused here. This is what happens when we have to do a restart. Anyway, the retina resolution, I think, is referring to this bit that says a resolution of 60 pixels per degree, which is about 20 times higher than current VR headsets. So you can see I've highlighted that bit there. Um, now, for those of you thinking, oh, well, that sounds like a good thing, you might want to consider the fact that it will actually cost you 6,000 US dollars. Um, and it's a harbinger of what to expect in consumer VR market in coming years, where it won't be $6,000, I don't think, unless there's a radical shifting of the value of currencies. However, the thing that really got me here is that apart from the cost, there will also be an annual 995 American dollars service license fee to pay. So basically, you're going to cough up $6,000 for this device, and then you're going to have to spend another $1,000 a year for permission to use the thing you've just bought. Come on, come on, come on! Please, why not just make it, $10,000 as a flat fee and forget that, I don't know. Anyway, I suspect this certainly has nothing. This company is Farjo, by the way. Um, uh, Targeting a niche that many of the big tech players have had trouble cracking into. Well, they would be at that price, wouldn't they?
Mm.
Um, Yeah, who knows? Who knows? This is for the enterprise, certainly, although which makes it even more laughable that they're talking about consumer VR market of the coming years. Let's go figure. I suppose everything that's expensive now will be, bog standard cheap in a few
Yeah,
years'
yeah,
time.
yep.
That's the way it is. So anyway, check out virtual reality times all one word.com for more on that. And until my own eyes go wonky, I'll put that away. Right. Next article. This one is at roadtovr.com, another regular site for us. This is talking about HTC's new product, left of field, the World Mobile World Congress, and they've created a 5G hub mobile hotspot that includes media streaming, digital assistant, internet access point for 20 devices. Now, 5G um, is the latest and newest approaching really Wi-Fi kind of communication standard. As you probably know, most of your home Wi-Fi a few years ago was 2G. These days it tends to be 5G, and also, I think 5G is going to be used in some of the, bit like cell networks that aren't actually strictly Wi-Fi. Basically, it's very fast. It's faster than fiber optic broadband, or that's the promise. How limited it is in other ways, I'm not sure. I know that 5G Wi-Fi, for example, has a more limited distance than the old 2G for some reason. So the Wi-Fi signal gets better, but the distance covered gets worse. Go figure. Um, anyway, what's happening here is this 5G hub that HTC are demonstrating is basically the idea is you'll be able to run very high-end graphics demanding things like games over a 5G network, even though your computer traditionally might not necessarily handle the demands of a game like that. I mean, basically, the speed of the uplink downlink on 5G will compensate for enough that you don't necessarily need to be running the processing side of it on your own software. It can be actually done from the cloud. And there's another link coming up shortly, which goes into this further. So I'll leave it for now. But apparently, the industry is getting all excited about this because they figure their headsets and their cloud computing games and everything need a kick in the arse, so to speak, and they think 5G might be it. We will wait and see on that front. Okay, so that is at roadtovr.com. Right, back to the next one. February 27th. The XR Attention Lab takes body language to a whole new level. Oh yes, well this is more a case of new technology, new possibility. Virtual Leap, they're based in Lisbon, which is in I was about to say Spain, but it's Portugal, isn't it? Um, let's see. Um, it's an API they developed to cater towards accessibility needs, broadening the user base of immersive content, adapting for inclusiveness and maximum user comfort, like increasing color contrast, adjusting font sizes, etc., etc. Um, basically, I'll let you go here to read it if you're really interested. A fancy looking graphic, but I'm not quite sure. It actually looks like the camera in high fidelity wandering around. Never mind. Biometric algorithms will enable your body to speak through immersive technology. Is this the next phase of human machine integration? So you can see why I'm going to send you there to read the article. It's not easy to do a resume of that, but interesting stuff anyway. Sort of increasing our abilities for immersion. Okay, put that one away too. And roadtovr.com yet again. Hands on. This is Letin, not Retin or Retin or anything. It's Letin AR. AR being augmented reality, brings a larger field of view and depth of field to augmented reality with pinhole effect optics. Yet another. Well, this is a sort of really case of the future being in the past. Um, The idea is they create small pinhole-based mirrors orientated to reflect images from displays, both micro and larger formats, to the user's eye. And let's see, there's an interesting piece here. Right here we are. The concept at play here is similar to pinhole camera photography, which creates images with near infinite depth of field, making everything appear in focus by limiting the amount of light to a small, more concentrated beam. Um, in contrast to, say, HoloLens 2 or Magic Leap 1, PIN MR doesn't use waveguides, which the company says cuts down the manufacturing complexity and costs. So bring on the pinhole cameras to our headsets, I guess. Again, more technical stuff that you really need to read if you're interested. And these are another pair of glasses, which are um, uh, basically using the pinhole technology. And I believe the control of the display is sort of on one side. It's not like Google Glass where there's a great big box there or something. They do look top heavy there, don't they? But I mean, there's still a pair of glasses that one will wear. Um, the demo wasn't without its downsides. The company claims that the pin mirrors themselves aren't detectable by the eye because they're technically smaller than a human pupil, but the tester said he could see a distinct blur in the extreme near field. But generally, the review of the chap wearing these and stuff was impressed. And Lesson AR is coming to the Augmented World Expo or this summer. God, I thought we just finished the last one, but maybe not. Okay, so all comes in the summer, and we'll probably find out a bit more about that then. Certainly good to see things like glasses coming out. We're now getting a much larger range of. I think we've got more glasses to choose from now, finally, than we've actually got headsets. So go figure. Right now, this is a medium. Oh, I thought it was a medium. Well, it shows as being a medium, but the link here is lab.onebonsai.com. That's LAB dot and then one ONE and then bonsai BONSAI.com. So lab first word dot one bonsai is all one word.com. And it's just a brief history of virtuality. It's nice to have these things around, isn't it, when we want them? And it starts in 1838 with the stereoscope. Isn't that cute? Yay, that's just what virtuality's always been about. Moving through to 1929, and oh yeah, oh I remember this. Oh, isn't that a great ham from the 50s? The Sensorama. There it was. That
Hmm.
was virtuality back in the 50s. It's not new at all. 68, The Sword of Damocles. This is you've got to look at this really because it's fun. And 1993, Sega did a job on
Oh
it.
yeah,
In
yeah.
fact, the Sega one looks quite nice, and the ad built in, it it's slightly more stylish than the Oculus of the modern day, I think. And Nintendo, 1995, had to go with it. And The Matrix is the movie, of course, which doesn't really count, but there you go, Oculus Kickstarter, etc., etc. So, a brief history of virtual reality there. The author is Thomas DeMore, so yeah, the bonsai and the title has nothing to do with the author. Anyway, go and find that, as I said, at lab1bonsai.com.
Well, and
I
we as
imagine.
I was going to say, as we've
So,
discussed before, I mean, a book is virtual reality in a way. I mean, you can get very immersed in a book, so it,
yeah,
it could go way back.
it is, and the it's not mentioned here at all, but those stereoscopic sort of viewer things that
Hmm.
they used to take wheels and you looked at
Oh, the
slides.
ViewMaster, right?
Viewmaster, yeah, and of course
Hmm.
that was updated recently to include virtuality
Right,
things.
right.
Yeah, and I mean, just think of cinema and things. Basically, it's all illusion. Like the old dioramas that were cinema before cinema.
Hmm.
That you were sitting in a circle of flickering images, and you saw movement, and yeah. Uh, I don't know. We've had optical tricks for a long while. I mean, I suppose, um, yeah. Well, there's a long history there. It depends what you define as virtuality. I mean, if you
Hmm.
restrict it to the delivery medium of an alternate reality, then one can get a bit more of a grasp on it. But if you're really broad about it being a method of exhibiting rather than just a straight-on delivery medium, then you can go back. You can go back whenever you want. I
To
mean,
telling stories around the campfire.
yeah, sort of, but I'm thinking of theatre, painted
Yeah.
backdrops, foregrounds, things that move depending on the angle you're viewing
Right.
them
Right.
at and things. I mean, stage design, it could, by that token, be a pioneer of virtuality. There's so much used to be able to do with stage design because you're dealing in a 3D space, which is reality, but you're also fictionalizing it and using layers within it to create sort of effects.
Hmm.
So an actor walks behind a bush in the foreground, but in front of a painted backdrop in the background, and all sorts of layering based on that. So yeah, curious stuff.
Yep.
But anyway, that's a neat little article, if only for the quirky little photos that we've seen. So let's put that away for the moment and move on to studying social presence in VR. Now, this has got the Medium logo on it again, and this time it is actually at medium.com. That's medium.com. And this is how this must here. This is posted on February 20th, which is earlier, in fact, than some of the other articles, but I think it just came through a bit later. Um, Again, a kind of roundup, really. But this is really our field of endeavor, and that is social presence in VR. It's the kind of thing that there.com and Second Life, when they arrived, sort of, it was a move away from the chat rooms into 3D worlds and all sorts of creative things that happened thereof. And really, the social presence is what made that. And it's a very different thing. These are things that work quite happily on 2D screens. They don't demand 3D, virtual reality viewers or anything. But the key has always been the social presence and the collaboration and things like that. And in the latter day, although it's not one I focus on here very much, this has been proven by an app in Oculus. I think it's restricted. I'm not sure. Maybe on Twitch too, called VR Chat, which has thousands and thousands of users. It's hardly graphically the best example of what's possible, though it is improving. But it is successfully latched on to the idea of an instant messenger that is a visual component too. And anyway, this is new research by the University of British Columbia, highlighting both similarities and differences in the way people interact in virtual environments and the real world. So you do some things in virtuality which you wouldn't be seen dead doing in the real world, but also conversely, vice versa, I guess. And I was reading something else. It wasn't this article, but I was reading it. I think it was this morning, actually. Hard to tell. I'm in the UK here. I'm losing sense of time because it's night already. Um, Basically, there's a difference between some virtual worlds that they may have a lot of users, but you will often find that there's a percentage of those users are somewhat juvenile. And for people who take these things seriously, they find the presence of these, shall we say, juvenile avatars disrupting everything a bit distressing. Because I suppose it's something, if something is pitched, and doesn't have an age demographic and is successful, then, all the younger cool kids pour in and they tend to be a rather disruptive element. I even know that from places like high fidelity and things. We had, one of the regular bingo sessions on Thursday, and voice channels all open. And some people are sort of polite. They behave like they would in the real world. They're quiet and maybe just shout bingo if they got a number or something. And then, but you can't hear yourself think sometimes because other people are saying, "Oh, give me this number, give me that number." You've got 100 voices going at once, and some of the voices are really pushy. Like, you feel like you've got some sort of retarded teenager next to you, sort of, you know. Yeah, I've got this and I want that and blah, blah, blah. Yeah. It's not the way to behave in any virtual world I want to be in, really. But there
No,
you go.
no,
There you go.
no insults. I hope though.
No, no, I didn't mention any names. Whoa,
Okay.
now will you be surprised? Yeah, I mean, um, I've obviously gone down the rabbit hole again here, aren't I? But
Yeah.
inspired by this article, basically, I can imagine, actually, quite frankly, that some people who are incredibly rude and boisterous and domineering in the virtual environment, say at that bingo thing, and it's also very well attended because they give away some considerably valuable prizes. They give away $1,000 headsets as prizes. So it gets a lot of people in. On the off chance they're going to win. But I suspect, that some of these people who are like that in virtuality wouldn't dare behave like that in the real world because all depending on their social circle, they either get beaten up or just completely ostracized by the community. So, but they think they can get away with it in virtual worlds, and sadly they do. So anyway, let me move on. You don't want to alert there about programming health now. Okay, putting that one away so I can move on without distraction. Medium again, believe it or not. This is a Kickstarter section, chasing the hologram. This is how a Looking Glass Factory and Sean Frayne, guy's name, are working to prevent a dystopian headset-only future. This stuff absolutely fascinates me because I like the way they describe it as a dystopian headset-only future. The impression being that you'll have your Oculus, or you'll have your Windows mixed reality, or you'll have your HTC Vive, or any number of other gadgets, even a PlayStation one, that will come up in the future, and they're all headsets and they lock you in. And it's in the headline, really. There's that famous photograph of a conference room where everybody's sitting with an Oculus headset on, except for Mark Zuckerberg, who's striding down the aisle like Hitler. He's the only one not wearing a headset. There is something rather dystopian about the thought that everybody's locked in these headsets. And, think of the movie The Matrix, where reality certainly wasn't what it seemed. you know. Um, yeah, so it's nice to see people approaching it from other degrees. Now, you can't really tell from that photo, and I don't know what it's like on stream because what you're seeing is not quite what I'm seeing, fidelity wise. But, this is like somebody holding a tablet, but the dimensions actually come through to you. Like you've got, multiple glass layers stacked on top of one another, where you can actually see what's happening there. And also, rather than using the idea of avatars and things, then being able to use holograms. This is a picture of a holographic ship which is projected quite literally into real. It's probably special effects because it's in Back to the Future, the movie. But they're working on that kind of idea. I suppose Magic Leap, although it is a headset, has been focusing on a lot of things like this. Um, but there's a little sort of movie example. It's a Giphy thing. It's not actually a video clip I can click on. But obviously you see a sort of a third dimensional frog enjoying himself there. I gotta say, even in 2D on screen here, he looks quite compelling. And yeah, digital rendered 3D models responding to users' hand gestures, thanks to an integration with a spatial sensor. So if this is the guy's real hand. This is his real hand in the virtual box, so to speak, and the frog is reacting to his real hand. Or except the real hand that's not the real hand, if you sort of see what I mean. Great stuff, isn't it? Anyway, 4D views. This is the Kickstarter territory. There's nothing here you can actually go and buy yet, but all very interesting stuff. So chase up medium.com/Kickstarter to find that article. It's actually Kickstarter is the name of an actual user at Medium. So, as well as it being a Kickstarter, so to speak. Okay, okay, moving on. Now, this is the follow-up article I remembered. This one was from earlier today, in fact. VR and virtual reality and cloud gaming frenzy seizes mobile something Mobile World Conference or whatever it's called, as 5G hype builds. We're back on building a gigabit future, if you can read that little sign in the background there. Um, Basically, people seem to need something else to get excited about now because they've run out of ideas on VR and, and AR and stuff like that. So they're deciding that 5G is the talking point at the moment because hopefully it will, its capability to bring, cloud streaming games and things across to you will be a real boon. It just means more users or whatever. What you have to do, of course, is ask about the cost. No doubt your internet connection providers will be wanting to charge you a whole lot more for 5G than they do for 4G or 3G. And more to the point, I'm thinking of cloud streaming video games, for example, because when you're cloud streaming, you're basically going onto the cloud and you're running your game, be it Second Life, OpenSim, High Fidelity. You're running the software to view it from a server. So there's a server somewhere running what's called the client-side software for you, and another server running the thing that the client-side viewer connects to, and you're accessing it all via the cloud. So there's very little work that needs to be done on your computer, which might be a rather old, computer that can't handle the client software, because it's all coming down as data and it's streaming, and the interaction that is going up the connection is also going up so fast that it's like a two-way video where your signal going up is as fast as the video of what you're doing is coming down. And you can any old tablet or something with not particularly decent specs can access that, or certainly can access it very well if you've got a 5G connection. But of course, that virtual cloud-based renderer, the computer where you log in to launch the viewer, is charging money too, because to them it's based on their servers, and you're running a sort of rented copy of the viewer. And they're going to be charging you for that too. So if you think of the cost of 5G and the cost of renting cloud computing, uh, you know, servers, I suspect it's the corporates that are going to clean up here. And it's going to be a pretty long time before this revolutionary 5G that's excited everybody will become commonplace enough that it's affordable enough, if you see what I mean. So anyway, this is uploadvr.com, and they've got their article about it there. And I believe, unless I got things wrong, I think this Mobile World Congress or whatever it's called, I think this is happening more during the week. I think this is a sort of preview at the weekend, so I suspect by next week we may have more to ramble on about in regard to that. Okay, now moving on. This, oddly enough, is a tweet in the Malbones writer tweet because it's an event that actually, despite the fact that they claim to be a virtual world event, they do happen in Second Life, which is a walled garden belonging to Wyndham Labs. But nevertheless, it's a worthy event. It's called Virtual World's Best Practices in Education. And yesterday they announced their three keynote speakers. Anthropologist Tom Bolstoff is well known to many people, and Jonathan Richards sounds vaguely familiar. I don't know who Tonsa Khan is or whatever, but
I think again we've lost Mal's feed. Um, I think I'm going to run the show ending, and I'll check back in and see what he's feeling about it. Thank you all for watching, and if we're not back, we'll see you next week. Bye for now.